Remember that burger joint you couldn't get enough of as a kid? Or that fried chicken spot with the crispy, secret recipe goodness?
Check it out. Wow, Kenny Rogers Roasters finally open. He is the gambler.
Once upon a time, these fast food favorites were go-to spots for millions, but today, they're just a memory. From legendary burger chains to quirky pizza places and iconic diners, these spots had their heyday before vanishing from the landscape. Some fell victim to fierce competition, changing tastes, or business blunders, while others were simply ahead of their time, but we wouldn't mind having them back, so grab a seat and prepare for a nostalgic trip through the fast food joints that once ruled America, until they didn't.
Give me all the chicken you have and then do a dance for me. That's what you could do. And they would all have to dance, these people.
Do you remember any of these? Let's find out. Bob's Big Boy. Bob's Big Boy wasn't just a fast food restaurant, it was an icon of American dining. Founded in 1936 in California, this beloved chain became famous for its signature double-decker burger, thick milkshakes, and classic diner-style service. With its retro booths, car hop service, and that unmistakable Big Boy mascot, it was a staple for families, teenagers, and road trippers alike. One of Bob's Big Boy's biggest draws was its deliciously simple yet unforgettable menu. The Big Boy Burger, featuring 2 beef patties, a sesame seed bun, and a special relish-based sauce, became a legend in the fast food world. But it wasn't just about burgers, the restaurant was also known for hand-dipped milkshakes, fluffy pancakes, and all-day breakfast platters that kept customers returning for more. Beyond the food, Bob's Big Boy delivered an authentic dining experience. The restaurants had a distinct 1950s charm, complete with neon signs, jukebox tunes, and friendly service that made every meal feel special. Many locations even offered curbside service where car hops would bring trays of food right to customers' cars, adding an extra layer of nostalgia. So why should Bob's Big Boy make a comeback? Because it represents a golden era of dining, a time when grabbing a burger meant more than just fast food. It was a place where families bonded over milkshakes, friends laughed over fries, and classic American diner culture thrived. With today's renewed love for retro aesthetics and comfort food, a revival of Bob's Big Boy could bring back that timeless charm and mouth-watering taste that so many people still crave. After all, who wouldn't want to take a trip back in time, one Big Boy burger at a time? Minnie Pearl's Chicken. In the late 1960s, Minnie Pearl's Chicken set out to take on the fast food fried chicken empire dominated by KFC. Named after the beloved country comedian Minnie Pearl, this chain promised Southern charm, crispy golden chicken, and a down-home experience like no other. With locations popping up across the South, Minnie Pearl's Chicken aimed to be more than just a place to eat. It was a taste of country hospitality. What set this restaurant apart was its unique branding. While Colonel Sanders had his signature white suit and goatee, Minnie Pearl's Chicken had its own star power in the form of Minnie herself, known for her big personality, signature price-tagged hat, and wholesome humor. The menu focused on traditional Southern fried chicken, hearty sides, and a warm, welcoming atmosphere. It was meant to be a place where families could gather, enjoy a meal, and soak in a little country charm. Unfortunately, despite its promising start, the chain faced financial troubles, poor management, and a rapid expansion that outpaced its ability to maintain consistency. By the early 1970s, Minnie Pearl's Chicken had faded away, unable to compete with its more established rivals. But imagine if it made a comeback today. With a rising love for retro brands and classic comfort food, Minnie Pearl's Chicken could thrive in the modern era. A revival could bring back that nostalgic Southern charm, offering crispy, old-fashioned fried chicken with a side of history. In a world where fast food often feels impersonal, a modern Minnie Pearl's Chicken could recapture the magic of a time when great food and warm hospitality went hand in hand. After all, who wouldn't want to savor a piece of Southern history with every crispy golden bite? Gino's Hamburgers. Gino's Hamburgers was more than just another fast food joint, it was a beloved institution. Founded in 1957 by NFL Hall of Famer Gino Marchetti, this chain quickly became a household name, serving up mouth-watering burgers, golden fries, and thick milkshakes to hungry customers across the East Coast. But what really set Gino's apart was its unique mix of fast food and family-friendly service. Unlike many of its competitors, Gino's offered a little something extra. Its partnership with Kentucky Fried Chicken meant you could order a crispy bucket of Colonel Sanders' famous fried chicken alongside your burger. It was the best of both worlds, making Gino's a go-to spot for families who wanted variety without compromise. The menu also featured their signature Gino Giant, a towering burger meant to rival the Big Mac, packed with special sauce and fresh toppings. The atmosphere at Gino's was just as special as the food. With its retro red and white signage and welcoming vibe, it became a neighborhood staple where friends and families gathered for a meal that felt like an experience rather than just a pit stop. So why should Gino's make a comeback? Nostalgia aside, its dedication to quality, variety, and hearty portions would be a breath of fresh air in today's fast food landscape. In an era where chains are cutting corners, Gino's commitment to fresh, flavorful food could win over a new generation of burger lovers. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to sink their teeth into a classic Gino Giant one more time? A revival of Gino's wouldn't just satisfy cravings, it would bring back a piece of fast food history that truly deserves another chance. Don Pablo's. Don Pablo's was once a go-to spot for Tex-Mex lovers craving bold flavors, lively atmospheres, and endless baskets of warm tortilla chips. Founded in 1985, this beloved chain quickly became known for its oversized portions, hand-rolled enchiladas, sizzling fajitas, and fresh house-made tortillas. Whether you were celebrating a birthday with a massive sombrero on your head or diving into a plate of their signature mesquite grilled dishes, every visit to Don Pablo's felt like a fiesta. But it wasn't just the food that made Don Pablo's special, it was the experience. The restaurants were designed with vibrant southwestern decor, complete with rustic wooden accents and colorful tile work, transporting guests straight to the heart of Texas. Their open kitchen concept gave diners a front row seat to the magic happening behind the scenes, from tortillas being pressed fresh to fajitas arriving at the table with a dramatic sizzle. Sadly, despite its loyal following, Don Pablo's couldn't keep up with the evolving fast casual landscape. A combination of financial struggles, changing dining habits, and increasing competition led to the chain's gradual decline. By 2019, the last remaining locations had closed their doors, leaving fans with only memories of their famous queso and margaritas. A Don Pablo's comeback would be a dream come true for Tex-Mex enthusiasts. With the growing popularity of authentic, bold-flavored cuisine, there's still a place for a restaurant that delivers quality ingredients and a festive atmosphere. Imagine a revamped Don Pablo's with modern touches, perhaps a fast casual twist or a focus on locally sourced ingredients, while still holding on to the flavors and flair that made it a fan favorite. In a world where good Tex-Mex is always in demand, Don Pablo's deserves a second shot at making every meal a celebration. Royal Castle. Royal Castle was once a shining star in the world of fast food, serving up steaming hot, bite-sized hamburgers long before sliders became a trend. Founded in 1938 in Miami, Florida, this beloved chain quickly became famous for its simple yet irresistible menu. Customers couldn't get enough of Royal Castle's square burgers, cooked right in front of them on a sizzling griddle and topped with grilled onions, pickles, and a dash of nostalgia. But burgers weren't the only draw. Royal Castle was also known for its legendary birch beer, a creamy, refreshing soda that perfectly complemented its savory offerings. Served ice-cold in frosted mugs, it became a signature part of the Royal Castle experience, making every visit feel special. The 24-hour service meant that no matter when hunger struck, you could count on Royal Castle for a satisfying meal. So why should this classic chain make a comeback? For one, it thrived on quality and simplicity, something today's fast food scene could use more of. In an era of complicated menus and artificial ingredients, Royal Castle's fresh, made-to-order burgers and old-school service would be a welcome return to the basics. Plus, who wouldn't want to sip on a frosty birch beer while enjoying a classic American burger in a nostalgic diner setting? Although most locations closed by the late 1970s, a single Royal Castle still stands in Miami, proving its legacy is far from forgotten. A full-scale revival could introduce a new generation to the charm, flavor, and history that made Royal Castle a true fast food icon, because some classics aren't meant to fade away, they're meant to be savored again. ShowBiz Pizza Place. For kids growing up in the 80s, ShowBiz Pizza Place wasn't just a restaurant, it was an event. With its dazzling arcade, mouth-watering pizza, and the unforgettable animatronic band, the Rockafire Explosion, ShowBiz was the ultimate birthday party destination. Founded in 1980, it quickly became a household name, offering families more than just food. It provided an immersive entertainment experience that made every visit feel like a special occasion. What set ShowBiz Pizza apart was its electric atmosphere. Walking through its doors meant stepping into a world filled with flashing lights, arcade game soundtracks, and the lively performances of Billy Bob Broccoli and his Rockafire Explosion bandmates. Kids could feast on cheesy, piping hot pizza while watching the animatronics belt out catchy tunes, a spectacle that was equal parts quirky and magical. Add in the thrill of winning tickets from classic arcade games, and it's no wonder ShowBiz Pizza had an almost mythical reputation. Despite its popularity, ShowBiz merged with Chuck E. Cheese in the late 80s, leading to the eventual disappearance of its unique branding and beloved animatronic band. But imagine if it made a comeback. With today's love for nostalgia, a modernized ShowBiz Pizza Place could thrive, blending vintage charm with new age tech. Imagine augmented reality arcade games, improved animatronic performances, and retro-themed pizza nights that let both kids and adults relive the magic. In an era where family-friendly entertainment feels increasingly digital and disconnected, ShowBiz Pizza Place's return could bring back the in-person fun and excitement that made childhood unforgettable. Who wouldn't love one more chance to sit back with a slice of pizza and watch the Rockafire Explosion rock the stage? Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor. If you grew up between the 1960s and 1980s, there's a good chance Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor was a major part of your childhood celebrations. This wasn't just a place to grab dessert, it was an experience. With its turn-of-the-century decor, servers dressed in vintage uniforms, and the sound of a player piano filling the air, Farrell's transported guests to a time when ice cream was a true event. But it wasn't just about the atmosphere. Farrell's had legendary menu items that made every visit unforgettable. The star attraction? The Zoo Sundae, a massive creation piled high with scoops of ice cream, toppings, and enough whipped cream to make any kid's eyes light up. And if you were lucky enough to order it, your table became the center of attention as servers paraded through the restaurant, banging drums and ringing bells in celebration. Beyond the sundaes, Farrell's also served classic American fare like burgers, hot dogs, and sandwiches, making it a family go-to spot. Whether you were there for a birthday party, a first date, or just to indulge in an old-fashioned soda float, Farrell's delivered fun with every bite. So why should Farrell's make a comeback? In today's fast-paced, digital-driven world, there's something special about a place that encourages people to slow down, share a laugh, and celebrate together. Modern ice cream shops may have gourmet flavors, but they lack the pure joy and theatrical fun that made Farrell's unique. A revival of this beloved chain could bring back the magic of over-the-top sundaes, lively celebrations, and the kind of nostalgic charm that made Farrell's a true icon. Chi-Chi's. Chi-Chi's was more than just a restaurant. It was a fiesta waiting to happen. Founded in 1975, this Tex-Mex chain brought sizzling fajitas, crispy chimichangas, and endless baskets of chips and salsa to hungry diners across the U.S. It wasn't just about the food, it was about the experience. With its colorful decor, lively atmosphere, and festive margaritas, Chi-Chi's made every meal feel like a celebration. One of its standout features was its legendary Sunday brunch, where guests could indulge in an all-you-can-eat spread of Mexican-inspired dishes. It was also one of the first major chains to introduce fried ice cream, a crispy, cinnamon-dusted treat that quickly became a fan favorite. And who could forget the oversized margaritas served in festive glasses? Chi-Chi's wasn't just a place to eat, it was a place to gather, laugh, and enjoy life. Unfortunately, the brand's success was cut short in the early 2000s after financial struggles and a highly publicized hepatitis A outbreak. Despite its downfall in the US, the Chi-Chi's name still survives in Europe and Asia as a packaged food brand. but the restaurant experience itself is long gone. So why should Chi-Chi make a comeback? Simple, because no one has quite captured its unique blend of flavor, fun, and festivity. In an era where nostalgia-driven revivals are thriving, a new and improved Chi-Chi's could be a hit. Imagine the return of their sizzling fajitas, signature fried ice cream, and bottomless chips and salsa, all served with a side of live mariachi music. It's the kind of dining experience we didn't know we were missing until now. Bring back Chi-Chi's, and let's turn every meal into a celebration again. Howard Johnson's. Howard Johnson's was a fast food icon that redefined dining during its heyday. Founded in 1925 by Howard Deering Johnson, the restaurant chain became a symbol of comfort and convenience across the U.S., particularly known for its roadside appeal and unforgettable orange roof. A true pioneer in the fast food world, it offered a wide variety of dishes, from its famous fried clams and golden fried chicken to hearty breakfast and decadent ice cream. But what truly set Howard Johnson's apart was its consistency. Whether you were in Maine or Florida, you could count on the same friendly service and classic American fare. At its peak, Howard Johnson's was one of the largest restaurant chains in the country, with over 1,000 locations. Families, road trippers, and travelers flocked to its signature restaurants for a relaxing, sit-down experience that was a step up from the typical fast food joint. Its combination of comfort food and cozy atmosphere made it a beloved institution, offering a welcoming respite with a menu that felt like home, no matter where you were. Reviving Howard Johnson's today would be a dream for those craving nostalgia. In an age where fast food can feel impersonal and rushed, the warm, family-friendly vibe of Howard Johnson's could provide a refreshing change. Imagine walking into a restaurant that feels like a throwback to simpler times, with hearty classic American dishes served with a side of comfort. The combination of retro charm, timeless flavors, and that signature orange roof would surely capture the hearts of a new generation while rekindling fond memories for those who remember it best. Ground Round. Ground Round was a fast food chain that stood out for its unique blend of casual dining and entertainment. Offering much more than just a meal, it was an experience. Established in 1969, this beloved restaurant quickly became a favorite for families and friends seeking a laid-back atmosphere to enjoy hearty food and fun. The restaurant's signature feature was its combination of classic American fare, like juicy burgers and crispy fries, with a lively pub-like ambiance. Guests could dig into a delicious meal while catching a game on TV or even throwing peanut shells onto the floor, a quirky tradition that added to its charm. But Ground Round didn't just serve food, it created memories. The menu was packed with comfort foods that appealed to all ages, from towering burgers to thick milkshakes, and everything was served in a relaxed, no-pressure environment. They even offered a unique take on the classic bar experience, with a focus on family-friendly fun rather than just adult-oriented entertainment. So why would a comeback be a hit today? In a world where fast food is becoming increasingly impersonal and rushed, Ground Round's nostalgic, community-driven vibe would be a breath of fresh air. With a focus on great food, family-friendly fun, and a welcoming atmosphere, it could tap into the growing desire for casual dining experiences that offer more than just a quick bite. Picture it now: burgers, games, laughter, and a place where everyone feels at home. Ground Round would not only satisfy your hunger, but bring back the magic of dining with a side of nostalgia. Let's get it back, El Torito. El Torito was more than just a fast food restaurant, it was a fiesta for the senses. Founded in 1954, this Mexican-inspired chain quickly became a staple for those craving bold flavors and vibrant dining experiences. Known for its casual yet festive atmosphere, El Torito served up a menu brimming with fresh, flavorful dishes that combined the best of Mexican street food and traditional favorites. From sizzling fajitas to hearty burritos, tacos, and creamy guacamole made right at your table, El Torito offered an authentic taste of Mexico with the convenience of fast food. But what really set El Torito apart was its legendary margaritas, the kind that could turn a regular Tuesday into a mini celebration. The warm, welcoming vibe of its restaurants made it the perfect spot for families, friends, and even casual work gatherings. offering both a comfortable dining experience and the chance to unwind with a drink in hand. So why should El Torito make a comeback? Simple. It would tap into the ever-growing demand for flavorful, vibrant, and affordable dining. With the rise of Mexican cuisine's popularity and a renewed love for fast casual experiences, bringing back El Torito would be like reopening a long-lost door to a world of zesty tacos and margaritas. It would blend nostalgia with modern-day convenience, offering a perfect mix of both classic and innovative dishes. Imagine the joy of diving into a sizzling plate of fajitas with the same zest and charm that made El Torito a household name. It's time to reignite that fiesta and bring back the flavors we loved. Dee's Drive-In. Honestly speaking, Dee's Drive-In was more than a restaurant. It was a local institution that captured the essence of the classic American diner experience. Founded in the 1950s, Dee's quickly became a go-to spot for families, teens, and car enthusiasts alike. Known for its retro charm and iconic drive-in service, Dee's specializes in delicious burgers, crispy fries, and creamy milkshakes, all served right to your car. It was the kind of place where you'd pull up, roll down your window, and have your meal delivered by a friendly car hop on skates, an experience that added a personal touch to every visit. The menu was simple yet unforgettable. You could indulge in a juicy burger stacked with all your favorite toppings, savor a hot dog piled high with chili, or cool off with a classic root beer float. Dee's also had a signature feature, its famous Dee's Special Burger, a local favorite that had people coming back for more, but it wasn't just the food that made Dee's stand out, it was the atmosphere. With its neon signs, upbeat tunes, and community feel, the restaurant offered more than just a meal. It was a place to gather, relax, and make memories. In today's world, where dining is increasingly impersonal and rushed, a comeback for Dee's Drive-In could be just the nostalgic escape we all need. Imagine pulling into a retro-style drive-in, enjoying a delicious made-to-order meal, and feeling like you've stepped back into a simpler, more joyful time. With the rise of retro trends, Dee's would be a perfect fit for today's fast food landscape, combining classic comfort with modern nostalgia, steak and ale. Any American oldie will surely remember steak and ale. It was an experience. Founded in 1966, this iconic chain brought together a unique blend of casual dining and fine dining, creating the perfect spot for family dinners, dates, and everything in between. Known for its hearty steaks, comforting salads, and unbeatable ambiance, Steak and Ale carved out a special place in the hearts of many. Its rustic yet sophisticated vibe, complete with wooden beams and dim lighting, made it feel like a cozy escape from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. The menu was a meat lover's dream, with signature dishes like the famous prime rib, tender steaks, and their mouth-watering chicken fried steak. But it wasn't just about the food. Steak and Ale was also famous for its warm, inviting service and cozy bar area, where you could sip on cocktails or enjoy a cold beer with friends. The restaurant also offered an extensive salad bar, perfect for those who wanted to customize their meal with fresh veggies, toppings, and dressings. So why would a comeback be so great? In today's fast-paced, grab-and-go dining world, the nostalgia of Steak and Ale's laid-back atmosphere and focus on quality, delicious food is exactly what we need. Imagine unwinding with a perfectly cooked steak paired with a refreshing salad bar in a relaxed, inviting space that feels like a home away from home. It would be a much-needed break from the fast food frenzy, giving people a chance to reconnect over a great meal in a timeless setting. Steak and Ale's return could offer a delightful blend of old-school charm and today's desire for comfort and quality. Child's Restaurant. Child's Restaurant, once a staple of American dining, was more than just a place to grab a meal. It was an experience that combined convenience, comfort, and quality. Founded in 1889, Child's revolutionized the idea of casual dining by offering a full-service restaurant with an emphasis on affordable, hearty meals. At its peak, Child's had dozens of locations across major cities, with New York City being its heart. The restaurant's distinctive charm lay in its mix of counter service and sit-down dining, giving customers the flexibility to enjoy a meal quickly or linger and savor it. Known for its delicious seafood, classic American dishes, and decadent desserts, Child served everything from clam chowder to roast beef sandwiches. The appeal wasn't just the food, it was the experience of eating in a welcoming, bustling space where families, workers, and tourists could come together. Whether it was enjoying a quick lunch or sharing a celebratory dinner, Childs made every meal feel special. So why would Childs be the perfect comeback story for today's fast food landscape? In an era where diners crave comfort, nostalgia, and quality, the timeless appeal of a family-friendly restaurant that served up delicious meals in a relaxed atmosphere is exactly what's missing. Imagine modernizing its iconic menu with a fresh contemporary twist while still keeping those classic favorites that everyone adored. With today's emphasis on quick, satisfying meals and unique dining experiences, Childs could easily reclaim its spot in the hearts and stomachs of a new generation of customers. Bringing back Childs could just be the nostalgia-filled dining experience we never knew we needed. Kenny Rogers Roasters top of form. What happens when country music and finger-licking good meals collide? Well, Kenny Rogers Roasters was more than just a fast food joint. It was a cozy retreat for anyone craving a wholesome rotisserie-style meal with a twist. Founded in 1991 by country music legend Kenny Rogers, this restaurant quickly became known for its mouth-watering rotisserie chicken, which is tender and flavorful with a secret marinade that made it stand out from the crowd. But it wasn't just about the chicken. Kenny Rogers Roasters served up a variety of sides like mashed potatoes, corn on the cob, and fresh-baked biscuits, creating a comforting, home-cooked feel in a fast food setting. The ambiance was also unique, bright and inviting, with an almost nostalgic charm. It wasn't just about feeding people. It was about providing a dining experience that felt like a warm hug after a long day. For a time, Kenny Rogers Roasters had a loyal following, but as the fast food landscape evolved, the chain started to lose ground. Despite attempts to revamp, it eventually faded from the US market, though it still has a presence in international locations. Why bring it back? Today, people are increasingly seeking healthier, flavorful alternatives to the typical fast food offerings. Kenny Rogers Roasters, with its emphasis on rotisserie cooking and fresh quality ingredients, fits perfectly into the growing demand for healthier yet satisfying meals. Imagine walking into a familiar, welcoming spot and savoring a juicy piece of rotisserie chicken with a side of classic mashed potatoes, all at a fast food pace. It would be a hit with a whole new generation of foodies who crave something different but just as delicious. So, did you ever dine in any of these forgotten restaurants? If so, which one? Let us know in the comment section below.
Looking for a great lunch at a great price? Well, York has lots of them.
At York Steakhouse, we serve the best in food and quality.
Make your day at Poppin' Taco just fancy. Oh, how good Poppin' Taco can be.
Let's face it, mall food courts were a rite of passage, a place where we willingly dined on questionable pizza and soda slushies with zero regret. But some of those iconic mall restaurants didn't make it out alive. From frothy orange Julius's to sizzling York steak houses, we're revisiting 22 forgotten mall restaurants that no longer exist. But before we dig in, don't forget to subscribe to Those Wonder Years and let us know in the comments, which of these defunct eateries do you actually miss? Get ready, because this list will have you craving flavors you haven't thought about since the days of neon food court trays and endless napkin dispensers. Orange Julius.
A small orange Julius smoothie is just $1.49. Why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary?
Ah, Orange Julius, the frothy, creamy drink that was part smoothie, part mystery. Let's be honest, no one really knew what was in it, but we loved it anyway. Picture yourself in the mall, grabbing one of those iconic orange cups and getting that first sip of frothy, citrusy heaven. Orange Julius was more than just a drink. It was practically a social event. You couldn't stroll through the mall without spotting someone with that bright orange cup. Have you ever wondered what made it so addictive? The mix of sweet, tangy orange with a frothy top and a hint of vanilla made it uniquely refreshing. And if you were lucky, you paired it with one of their hot dogs. Simple, but perfect. As smoothie chains took over, Orange Julius faded away, merging with Dairy Queen in some locations, but it was never quite the same. For those who remember, Orange Julius was a taste of pure nostalgia, a reminder of mall days when drinks were mysterious, delicious, and a little weird. Who wouldn't want just one more sip of that citrusy classic? Sbarro.
Don't stop
Eating at Sbarro.
Sbarro wasn't just a food court staple, it was the king of mall pizza. No trip to the mall was complete without seeing those oversized slices of pizza on display, under lights that somehow made everything look both irresistible and slightly questionable. Remember those massive foldable slices with cheese that stretched like in the movies? Walking past a Sbarro meant an instant hit of that warm, garlicky, cheesy aroma, practically pulling you in. And yes, you probably burned your mouth on that first bite, but it was worth it. Sbarro's appeal was simple: big slices, bold flavors, and that signature slightly greasy taste that you didn't find anywhere else. But as food courts evolved, gourmet options and healthier fare edged Sbarro out. Today, finding a Sbarro in a mall is like finding a piece of history. If you were lucky enough to grow up with it, Sbarro was more than pizza. It was a taste of independence, of grabbing a slice and wandering the mall, feeling like you owned the place. Wouldn't it be nice to fold up a slice and take one more lap around the mall? Hot Sam Pretzels. Hot Sam Pretzels. The iconic buttery soft pretzel that made snack time in the mall something special. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s, you know the thrill of spotting that Hot Sam logo, with the sweet smell of freshly baked pretzels wafting through the air. These pretzels weren't just snacks, they were practically comfort food on the go. Whether you liked them plain, salted, or smothered in melted cheese, Hot Sam had something for everyone. And let's not forget the cinnamon sugar version, pure bliss in every bite. Hot Sam was the original mall pretzel, the one that started it all, long before other pretzel chains took over. There was something magical about that warm, doughy bite, especially if you had one of those tiny plastic cheese cups on the side. Eventually, Hot Sam was overshadowed by competitors and phased out of most malls. But for those who remember, a Hot Sam pretzel is a symbol of simpler times when carbs weren't the enemy and pretzels were the ultimate mall indulgence. Wouldn't it be great to go back to a time when a pretzel was all you needed to make the day better? Chick-fil-A Dwarf House.
From Chick-fil-A.
Hi, welcome to Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A's Dwarf House wasn't just any restaurant. It was a legendary Southern experience tucked inside some mall food courts. Imagine walking past and spotting a mini version of the restaurant that started it all, complete with its famous chicken sandwiches and a touch of Southern hospitality. The Dwarf House was quirky, sometimes even having a tiny door for kids to enter, and served not just Chick-fil-A's classic sandwiches, but also a variety of Southern-style dishes like cornbread and collard greens. Have you ever thought about how fun it would be to order Chick-fil-A with a side of nostalgia? While Chick-fil-A grew into the fast food giant we know today, the Dwarf House remained a charming nod to the brand's beginnings. Over time, the Dwarf House concept became rarer as larger Chick-fil-A locations took over mall food courts and beyond. For those who were lucky enough to experience it, the Dwarf House wasn't just a place to eat. It was a little piece of Chick-fil-A history that made every meal feel special. Who wouldn't want to step through that tiny door and relive it one more time? York Steakhouse.
Come to York and get a lot more lunch for a lot less money.
York Steakhouse.
York Steakhouse was a full-fledged steak experience right inside the mall back when food courts were as much about dining as they were about quick bites. Picture a cafeteria-style line where you could order a steak, baked potato, and maybe even a side of mac and cheese, all for an affordable price. York Steakhouse was the answer to people who wanted a hearty meal without the fancy price tag. Ever think about what it would be like to sit down for a full steak dinner? In the middle of a shopping spree, York made it possible. The food was simple but satisfying, served on plastic trays with that unmistakable cafeteria vibe, and for a mall spot, it was surprisingly high quality. Eventually, as malls moved toward fast food and quick bites, York Steakhouse couldn't keep up and disappeared from food courts across the country. But for those who dined there, it was a reminder that the mall could offer more than just snacks. Imagine taking a break from shopping today with a full steak dinner. There's something about that idea that just feels nostalgically indulgent, doesn't it? The Magic Pan.
You know why I like the Magic Pan? It's my kind of place and my kind of food. Steak.
If you were lucky enough to dine at the Magic Pan, you probably remember the thrill of watching crepes being made fresh in a unique rotating pan. The Magic Pan brought a bit of French flair to the mall, serving up sweet and savory crepes that felt fancy yet accessible. Imagine strolling through the mall and treating yourself to a crepe stuffed with creamy chicken or rich chocolate, all with a little touch of Paris in every bite. This wasn't fast food, it was food theater. The Magic Pan wasn't just about the crepes, it was about the experience, complete with classy decor and a bit of sophistication you didn't find at typical mall eateries. But as food court trends shifted towards quicker, simpler bites, the Magic Pan struggled to keep up with the faster pace. Eventually, it disappeared, leaving a sweet memory for those who remember their last crepe there. For many, the Magic Pan was the first taste of French cuisine, a little escape in the middle of a shopping trip. Who wouldn't want one more crepe hot off the pan? Burger Chef.
Open wide, America. Burger Chef's got thick, juicy, terrific burgers for you.
Before the Golden Arches became the fast food giant of choice, there was Burger Chef, a beloved burger joint with a unique twist. The Works Bar. Imagine grabbing a burger and heading over to a self-serve station loaded with toppings where you could customize your meal just how you liked it. For many, Burger Chef wasn't just a burger. It was a blank canvas for the ultimate build-your-own experience. Do you remember the thrill of piling on extra pickles, loading up on lettuce, or getting a little crazy with the ketchup? Burger Chef offered a sense of freedom, giving customers control over their meal in a way that was revolutionary at the time. As fast food giants grew and the mall scene evolved, Burger Chef struggled to compete and eventually vanished. But those who remember still crave that mix and match experience, where every burger felt personal. Imagine stepping up to that Works Bar today. Who wouldn't love a chance to craft their burger masterpiece? Corn Dog 7. If you ever passed a Corn Dog 7, you couldn't ignore the irresistible smell of fried food calling your name. Known for its crispy corn dogs and fried sides, Corn Dog 7 made mall food a true indulgence. Picture yourself at the food court biting into a perfectly fried corn dog with that classic snap of the hot dog inside. Pure bliss. Corn Dog 7 wasn't just about corn dogs. They had a menu of fried delights, from french fries to cheese sticks, all perfectly golden and ready to go. For those with a love of all things deep fried, this spot was a dream come true. In a world before food courts were filled with health-conscious options, Corn Dog 7 was unapologetically decadent, a treat you couldn't resist. Over time, as taste shifted and healthier options took center stage, Corn Dog 7 began to fade. But for those who remember, that first bite of a Corn Dog 7 snack was the ultimate guilty pleasure. Wouldn't it be fun to go back to a time when a deep fried treat was the highlight of a mall visit? Morrison's Cafeteria. Morrison's Cafeteria wasn't your typical mall restaurant. It was a sit-down experience, complete with trays, classic Southern comfort food, and that warm cafeteria vibe. Picture going through the line and choosing between mashed potatoes, green beans, fried chicken, and a slice of pie that practically called your name. Morrison's brought a sense of home-style cooking to the mall, a place where you could take a break from shopping and sit down for a hearty meal. For many, it was like eating at grandma's, but in the middle of a bustling mall. Do you remember the excitement of picking out each item, knowing every bite would taste like home? As food courts evolved and cafeterias became less popular, Morrison's faded into memory, unable to keep up with the faster food trends. But for those who remember, Morrison's was more than just food. It was a comforting pause in a busy day. Imagine a mall food court with Southern comfort food today. Who wouldn't want to revisit that warmth and familiarity? Pup and Taco.
Can we come back tomorrow?
Pup and Taco was a quirky fusion of American and Mexican fast food, a place where you could grab a hot dog and a taco in one stop. Imagine that, a hot dog in one hand, a crunchy taco in the other. Pup and Taco offered a unique mix that satisfied every craving, whether you wanted a chili dog or a bean burrito. Have you ever thought about a time when food didn't fit neatly into categories? Pup and Taco was ahead of its time, merging flavors and cultures in a way that felt fun and fresh. This wasn't typical mall food. It was a place for those who couldn't decide between a burger or a burrito. Eventually, Pup and Taco locations were bought out and the brand faded away. But for those who dined there, it's a reminder of when food was as adventurous as we were. Who wouldn't love the chance to grab a hot dog taco combo today, just for the nostalgia? Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers was more than just another fast food joint. It was a Western-themed experience that turned a quick meal into something memorable. Picture stepping into a Roy Rogers and heading straight to the Fixin's bar, where you could pile on toppings like pickles, lettuce, onions, and sauces until your sandwich was exactly the way you wanted it. Have you ever wanted the freedom to make a fast food meal truly your own? Roy Rogers gave customers that unique chance, making each roast beef sandwich or fried chicken meal feel customized. Named after the famous cowboy, Roy Rogers had an unmistakable charm, blending hearty American meals with a Western flair. Eventually, fast food chains with simpler menus began to dominate, and Roy Rogers faded from many malls. But for those who remember, that Fixin's bar was pure nostalgia, a place where you could make every bite exactly right. Who wouldn't want to saddle up and load up their sandwich at a Fixin's bar today? Great Steak and Potato Company. The Great Steak and Potato Company was a mall food court classic that combined the best of hearty steak sandwiches and baked potatoes loaded with toppings. Imagine a fresh, sizzling cheesesteak made to order, topped with peppers, onions, and melted cheese, paired with a massive baked potato filled with sour cream, bacon bits, and chives. For anyone looking for a meal that could actually fill them up, Great Steak and Potato was the spot. Have you ever felt that food court dilemma where you wanted something more satisfying than a slice of pizza? This place was the answer, offering comfort food that hit the spot every time. Eventually, as food court options became faster and lighter, Great Steak and Potato Company began to disappear from malls, replaced by newer, trendier choices. But for those who dined there, it's a reminder of a time when the food court offered something a bit heartier. Imagine getting a piping hot cheesesteak with all the fixings today. Who wouldn't love to relive that food court feast? B. Dalton Cafe. B. Dalton Cafe was a hidden gem for book lovers and caffeine enthusiasts alike. Imagine browsing the shelves of a B. Dalton bookstore, then settling into the cozy cafe with a cup of coffee and a pastry, surrounded by the smell of new books and freshly brewed coffee. It was the perfect spot for a quiet moment, a place where you could unwind with a novel in hand and a treat at your side. Have you ever missed that feeling of sitting down in a bookstore cafe, taking your time to lose yourself in a book? The B. Dalton Cafe offered a unique experience that blended reading and relaxation in a way that felt comforting and personal. As big box bookstores and digital reading took over, B. Dalton, along with its cozy cafe, gradually disappeared from malls. But for those who remember, it's a warm memory of a simpler time when coffee and books were all you needed for a perfect afternoon. Who wouldn't want to step back into a bookstore cafe for just one more cup? Mrs. Fields.
Mrs. Fields, yeah! Baking factory, you can make all kinds of treats. Mrs. Fields!
No mall trip was complete without a stop at Mrs. Fields for a fresh, warm cookie right out of the oven. Mrs. Fields wasn't just about cookies. It was about creating the perfect moment of sweetness in the middle of a busy day. Imagine walking by the kiosk and catching that irresistible scent of chocolate chip cookies baking, tempting you to stop just for one. Mrs. Fields was the ultimate treat with soft, chewy cookies that felt homemade. Remember those giant cookie cakes? They were a celebration in cookie form. Mrs. Fields may still be around in select places, but it's not the mall staple it once was. For many, Mrs. Fields represents a time when mall trips had a guaranteed sweet ending, a chance to indulge in a simple, comforting pleasure. Who wouldn't love to step back to a time when a cookie was all it took to make the day special? Rax Roast Beef.
To enjoy tasty, affordable meals in a more mature dining environment.
Rax Roast Beef was Arby's quirky competitor, a fast food spot that took roast beef sandwiches to another level with its unique Raxperience. Known for roast beef sandwiches with a twist, Rax also had a range of menu items from curly fries to milkshakes, and even a salad bar. Imagine a fast food place with an atmosphere somewhere between a burger joint and a salad bar, giving you options that weren't just meat and bread. Rax had a distinct vibe, one that invited you to sit down and enjoy your meal rather than rushing off. The rise of other fast food chains eventually overshadowed Rax, but for those who remember, it was a one-of-a-kind experience that felt like a little bit of a culinary adventure. Who wouldn't love to sit down to a Rax roast beef sandwich today, just for the nostalgia of it all? Kenny Rogers Roasters.
Introducing Kenny's brand new barbecue chicken, perfectly cooked and basted in a savory sauce. Try our downright kickin' barbecue chicken today.
Kenny Rogers Roasters. There's goodness here.
Before rotisserie chicken was a standard grocery store staple, there was Kenny Rogers Roasters. This was more than a food court spot, it was a place to sit down for a hearty, home-cooked style meal. Imagine walking up to the counter and ordering a meal that came with juicy, seasoned rotisserie chicken and a choice of classic sides like mashed potatoes, corn, or green beans. Founded by country music legend Kenny Rogers, the restaurant combined quality comfort food with a bit of country flair. Ever had that craving for a meal that felt like it was made with a little extra love? Kenny Rogers Roasters hit the spot every time. Over time, as fast food trends shifted, it became harder for the chain to keep up, and eventually it faded from malls. But for those who remember, it was more than just chicken. It was a dining experience with heart. Who wouldn't love to sit down to a plate of roast chicken and sides just for old time's sake? Cafe Court Cafeterias. Cafeterias like Cafe Court were an essential part of the mall food scene, offering a full lineup of comfort foods served in a casual, cafeteria-style setting. Picture trays loaded with fried chicken, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, and maybe a slice of pie for dessert. All classic, hearty dishes that felt like home. Do you remember strolling through the cafeteria line, deciding on each dish as you went? Cafe Court wasn't just about grabbing a quick bite, it was about sitting down to a real meal, enjoying food that reminded you of a family gathering or holiday dinner. As malls started focusing more on fast food and trendy spots, cafeterias began to disappear, unable to keep up with the fast-paced food court culture. But for those who dined at Cafe Court, it's a nostalgic memory of a time when food was as filling as it was comforting. Imagine bringing back those trays, filling them with comfort food, and sitting down with family or friends. Wouldn't that feel like a slice of the past? Brigham's Ice Cream.
But Brigham's knows the recipe for success has got to change with the time.
Brigham's Ice Cream was a classic stop for anyone with a sweet tooth, serving up sundaes, milkshakes, and scoops of rich, creamy ice cream that felt like a special treat. Imagine the joy of finishing a day at the mall with a heaping bowl of ice cream piled high with whipped cream, chocolate sauce, and maybe a cherry on top. Brigham's was all about those old-fashioned vibes, a place where you could sit down and savor something sweet. Have you ever tasted an ice cream so rich and creamy that it practically melted your worries away? That's what Brigham's offered. Ice cream that wasn't just dessert, it was an experience. As food courts and frozen yogurt took over, Brigham's faded away, unable to compete with newer, faster trends. But for those who remember, a scoop from Brigham's is a memory of simpler, sweeter times. Who wouldn't want to go back to a day when an ice cream cone was the perfect end to a mall adventure? Howard Johnson's Express. Howard Johnson's wasn't just a hotel chain, it was also a popular spot for a quick meal in the mall. Known for its classic American diner fare, Howard Johnson's Express served everything from burgers to fried clams and ice cream sundaes. Imagine taking a break from shopping and grabbing a meal that felt like an old-fashioned diner experience right in the middle of the mall. Howard Johnson's had a comforting retro vibe that reminded people of road trips and family vacations, but you didn't have to leave town to enjoy it. Ever miss those classic diner dishes that just hit the spot every time? Howard Johnson's was a place where you could sit down, relax, and have a real meal. As mall food courts became more focused on trendy or quick service spots, Howard Johnson's couldn't keep up and eventually disappeared. For those who remember, it was a place where every meal felt like a little escape. Who wouldn't want to bring back that touch of Americana to the mall food scene? Ponderosa Steakhouse.
And again, Mr. and Mrs. Fletcher, don't be strangers.
Have yourself a Ponderosa.
Ponderosa Steakhouse brought the charm of a casual family-style steakhouse into the mall, serving up steak dinners and an all-you-can-eat buffet that became a go-to for hearty meals. Imagine stepping up to a buffet brimming with mashed potatoes, green beans, macaroni and cheese, and, of course, a juicy steak cooked just right. Have you ever craved a meal that actually filled you up while still being affordable? Ponderosa was the answer, making steak and buffet-style dining accessible and convenient. It was more than just a meal. It was an experience that brought people together, offering a hearty meal at a reasonable price. As food court dining turned toward quicker, less filling options, Ponderosa began to disappear from malls. But for those who remember, it was a place where you could sit down, take your time, and enjoy a full meal. Wouldn't it be nice to bring back that filling, satisfying experience to malls today? Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor. If you were lucky enough to experience Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor, you know it was far more than just a place to grab dessert. This spot was all about fun, excitement, and over-the-top ice cream creations that were practically a spectacle. Farrell's had a carnival vibe with an old-timey, family-friendly atmosphere, where birthdays were celebrated with giant sundaes, servers in striped uniforms, and drums and horns blaring for all to hear. Do you remember ordering the Zoo, a colossal sundae that was carried out by multiple servers, topped with a flag and sparklers? Farrell's wasn't just a place to eat, it was an event that you looked forward to, especially if you had a sweet tooth. As time passed, fast food chains and simpler dessert spots took over, and Farrell's became harder to find. But for those who experienced it, Farrell's was a place where ice cream became unforgettable, a memory topped with whipped cream and sprinkles. Who wouldn't want to revisit that excitement, that pure ice cream bliss, just one more time? York's Peppermill. York's Peppermill offered a surprisingly upscale dining experience for a mall restaurant, serving dishes that felt more like a proper meal than a quick bite. Picture dim lighting, cozy booths, and a menu that included options like prime rib, seafood platters, and hearty pasta dishes. York's Peppermill was the kind of place where you could take a break from the mall hustle and settle down for a leisurely meal. It was known for its warm, comforting atmosphere, a little oasis from the noise and bustle of the mall. The restaurant's design aimed to bring a touch of class to the food court scene, and for years it worked. As malls evolved to include quicker, more casual options, restaurants like York's Peppermill faded away. For those who remember it though, it's a reminder of a time when a mall meal could feel like a special occasion. Imagine finding a place like York's Peppermill in a modern mall today, a quiet, inviting spot where you could sit down and truly enjoy a meal. These mall restaurants may be gone, but they're far from forgotten. They were more than just places to grab a bite. They were part of the mall experience, full of flavors and memories we still crave today. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to Those Wonder Years, and let us know in the comments, which of these lost mall eateries would you bring back if you could? Let's keep the nostalgia alive, one food court memory at a time. Do you ever wonder what happened to some of the chain restaurants you used to love? In this video, we're taking a trip down memory lane to explore 20 forgotten chain restaurants that no longer exist. From the beloved Howard Johnson's to the once popular Chi-Chi's, these places were once staples of American dining but have faded away. Stick around, you might just recognize some of these classic spots from your own past. Howard Johnson's.
Howard Johnson's offers a wide variety for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, prepared fresh and served hot.
Howard Johnson's was once a dominant force in American dining, known for its iconic orange roofs and wide-ranging menu. Established in 1925 by Howard Deering Johnson, the chain started as a soda fountain in Quincy, Massachusetts, but quickly expanded into a full-service restaurant. By the 1960s and 70s, Howard Johnson's had become the largest restaurant chain in the U.S., with more than 1,000 locations, often found along major highways and in motor lodges, making it a favorite stop for travelers. What made Howard Johnson's so popular was its family-friendly atmosphere and diverse menu. They were known for their 28 flavors of ice cream, a variety of comfort foods, and signature dishes like fried clams, frankfurters, and grilled hamburgers. The consistency and reliability of the food across locations meant that families could expect a familiar meal no matter where they were on the road. However, as fast food chains like McDonald's and Burger King began to dominate the market in the 1970s and 80s, Howard Johnson started to lose its appeal. The rise of quick service restaurants offering cheaper, faster meals made the more traditional sit-down dining experience feel outdated. By the early 2000s, the chain had dwindled to just a few locations, and today, only one Howard Johnson's restaurant remains in Lake George, New York, marking the end of an era for this once beloved chain. Chi-Chi's.
What's in Chi-Chi's new Sonoran sampler?
Chi-Chi's was a popular Mexican restaurant chain that made its debut in 1975 in Richfield, Minnesota. Co-founded by restaurateur Marno McDermott and former Green Bay Packers player Max McGee, Chi-Chi's quickly became a go-to spot for families and groups looking to enjoy Tex-Mex cuisine in a lively, festive atmosphere. At its peak, the chain had over 200 locations across the United States and was known for its margaritas, chimichangas, and sizzling fajitas. What made Chi-Chi's so popular was its approachable take on Mexican food, which was still relatively new to many American diners in the 70s and 80s. They offered large portions at reasonable prices, and their combination platters, complete with enchiladas, tacos, and beans, became crowd favorites. The restaurant's fun, party-like vibe made it a popular spot for birthdays and celebrations, with sombreros and happy birthday songs a common sight. Chi-Chi's downfall came swiftly in the early 2000s. In 2003, a hepatitis A outbreak linked to contaminated green onions at a Chi-Chi's location in Pennsylvania led to several deaths and hundreds of illnesses. The negative publicity severely hurt the brand, and combined with declining sales and increased competition from fast casual Mexican chains like Chipotle, Chi-Chi's filed for bankruptcy. The last US locations closed shortly after, but the brand still exists in Europe as a line of grocery products, though the restaurants are long gone from American soil. Sambo's.
We're taking you to our favorite place for dinner.
To Sambo's.
To Sambo's? Sambo's.
Sambo's was a once thriving chain of pancake houses that was founded in 1957 in Santa Barbara, California by Sam Battistone and Newell Bonnet. The name Sambo's was a combination of the founders' names, but it also referenced the controversial children's book, The Story of Little Black Sambo. Despite this, the chain grew rapidly, peaking at over 1,100 locations across the United States by the late 1970s. Sambo's was known for its affordable all-day breakfast menu, particularly its pancakes and signature Sambo's Tiger Tamer breakfast. Families loved Sambo's for its kid-friendly atmosphere, complete with tiger-themed decor and coloring books based on the Little Black Sambo story. The chain became a favorite for breakfast outings, offering classic diner fare at reasonable prices, including pancakes, waffles, eggs, and coffee. The restaurant's controversial name and theme, which drew from racial stereotypes, became a source of growing discomfort in the 1970s as social awareness around race issues increased. Protests and boycotts began, and public opinion started to turn against the brand. In an attempt to distance itself from the controversy, many locations rebranded as The Jolly Tiger, but the damage had already been done. Combined with financial mismanagement, Sambo's began closing its doors, and by the early 1980s, the chain had almost entirely disappeared. The original location in Santa Barbara is still open, but under a new name, Chad's, to reflect a more inclusive identity. Steak and Ale.
Here's to the great indoors.
Steak and ale.
Steak and Ale was a pioneer in the casual dining industry, founded in 1966 by restaurateur Norman Brinker in Dallas, Texas. The restaurant chain was famous for offering affordable steak dinners in a casual, English tavern-style atmosphere, which made it stand out from more formal steakhouse experiences. Steak and Ale quickly became known for its reasonably priced menu, which included cuts like filet mignon and prime rib, along with a signature salad bar that became a hallmark of the brand. The appeal of Steak and Ale lay in its ability to bring a touch of elegance to the average diner, offering steakhouse quality meals at prices accessible to middle-class families. The chain's dim lighting, wood-paneled interiors, and waitstaff dressed in period costumes created a cozy, old-world atmosphere that attracted customers for special occasions, date nights, and family dinners. The salad bar was a big draw, allowing customers to customize their meals in a way that was still relatively new at the time. Despite its early success, Steak and Ale struggled to maintain its position in a growing market for casual dining. Competition from other chains like Outback Steakhouse and Longhorn Steakhouse, combined with financial challenges, led to a decline in the brand's popularity. In 2008, the parent company Metromedia Restaurant Group filed for bankruptcy, leading to the closure of all remaining Steak and Ale locations. While the brand has been the subject of occasional revival rumors, it remains a nostalgic memory for those who once enjoyed its steaks and salad bar offerings. Burger Chef.
Burger Chef, you're incredible!
Burger Chef was once a fast food powerhouse, founded in 1954 in Indianapolis, Indiana, by Frank and Donald Thomas. At its peak in the 1970s, Burger Chef had over 1,000 locations across the United States, making it a serious competitor to McDonald's. The chain was known for its flame-broiled burgers, the Big Chef, its answer to the Big Mac, and its innovative Works Bar, a self-service station where customers could customize their burgers with toppings like lettuce, tomato, pickles, and onions. Burger Chef was also a trailblazer in creating combo meals, offering a fun meal that included a burger, fries, and a toy, an idea that McDonald's later capitalized on with its Happy Meal. Its aggressive expansion and family-friendly marketing helped Burger Chef cement its place in the fast food landscape, with many customers remembering its distinctive burgers, fried chicken, and signature milkshakes. Despite its early success, Burger Chef began to struggle in the 1980s due to increased competition and internal mismanagement. The company was eventually sold to General Foods, which began scaling back operations and converting many locations into Hardee's franchises. By the mid-1980s, the last remaining Burger Chef locations had been rebranded or closed, and the once prominent chain disappeared from the fast food scene. Today, it's remembered fondly by those who grew up enjoying its flame-broiled burgers and innovative offerings. Beefsteak Charlie's.
With shrimp at Beefsteak Charlie's tonight.
Beefsteak Charlie's was a popular chain of steakhouses that rose to prominence in the 1970s and 1980s, especially in the New York City area, known for its all-you-can-eat salad bar, unlimited shrimp, and endless beer, wine, and sangria with meals. Beefsteak Charlie's became synonymous with indulgence at an affordable price. The chain was named after a fictional turn-of-the-century New York restaurant owner, and it catered to diners looking for hearty portions in a casual setting. The restaurant was especially popular for its salad bar, which offered a variety of fresh vegetables, pasta salads, and breads, an exciting option at the time. The steakhouse also became known for its family-friendly atmosphere, generous portions, and an affordable way to enjoy steak, shrimp, and seafood. Ads for Beefsteak Charlie's often emphasized the abundance of food and drink, encouraging diners to come hungry and leave full. However, the all-you-can-eat model eventually proved unsustainable. Rising costs, competition from other casual dining chains, and difficulties in maintaining profitability led to the chain's decline. By the late 1980s, Beefsteak Charlie's began closing its locations, and by the early 2000s, the last of its restaurants had shut down. Despite its disappearance, Beefsteak Charlie's remains a nostalgic memory for those who fondly remember its limitless food and drink offerings. Lums.
I am crazy about Lum's gourmet burger, green peppers, mushrooms.
Lum's was a casual dining chain that became famous for its hot dogs steamed in beer, a unique twist that helped set it apart from other restaurants of its time. Founded in 1956 in Miami Beach, Florida, by Clifford Perlman and his brother Lums, quickly expanded across the U.S., reaching over 400 locations by the 1970s. The chain offered a variety of menu items, including sandwiches, burgers, and fried seafood, but its beer-steamed hot dogs were the standout favorite. Lums had a family-friendly, casual atmosphere, making it a popular spot for lunch, dinner, or a quick bite. In addition to its signature hot dogs, Lums was also known for its roast beef sandwiches and frosty mugs of draft beer. The chain capitalized on the post-war American dining boom, appealing to families who wanted something a bit different yet affordable. The chain's fortunes began to decline in the late 1970s and early 1980s, largely due to increased competition and shifts in consumer preferences. Lums was sold to KFC founder John Y. Brown in 1971, but the brand struggled under new ownership. By the mid-1980s, most Lums locations had closed, and the chain quietly disappeared from the American dining scene. Despite this, Lums remains a fond memory for those who remember its iconic beer-steamed hot dogs and casual vibe. Gino's Hamburgers.
I go for Gino's because I go for good food, and Howard can go for whatever he wants.
What'd you say you're going for?
Gino's Hamburgers was a beloved fast food chain founded in 1957 by NFL Hall of Famer Gino Marchetti, along with Alan Amiche and Louis Fisher. Originally based in Baltimore, Maryland, Gino's quickly grew into a popular East Coast chain known for its hamburgers and fried chicken. Gino's was famous for its Gino Giant, a burger that was their answer to McDonald's Big Mac, featuring a double-decker sandwich with special sauce, lettuce, cheese, and pickles. In addition to its hamburgers, Gino's partnered with KFC, offering Kentucky Fried Chicken at its locations, which made it a one-stop destination for both burgers and fried chicken. This unique combination helped Gino's expand quickly, and by the 1970s, the chain had grown to over 350 locations, especially popular in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and the surrounding states. However, in 1982, Gino's was sold to Marriott Corporation, which rebranded many of the Gino's locations into Roy Rogers restaurants, leading to the eventual disappearance of the brand. Though Gino's restaurants faded from the fast food landscape, many still fondly remember the Gino Giant and the chain's distinctive orange orange and black signs that once dotted the East Coast. Red Barn.
Even the bun tastes better.
That's Red Barn's special bun.
Red Barn was a fast food chain that stood out for its barn-shaped buildings and family-friendly atmosphere. Founded in 1961 in Springfield, Ohio, Red Barn quickly expanded across the United States, reaching its peak in the 1970s with around 300 locations. The chain was known for its hamburgers, fried chicken, and fish sandwiches, with menu items like the Big Barney and the Barn Buster competing directly with McDonald's and Burger King. One of the key draws of Red Barn was its innovative salad bar, which was a rarity for fast food restaurants at the time. Red Barn also offered larger portion sizes compared to many competitors, making it a hit with families looking for value. The restaurant's distinctive barn-shaped buildings made them easily recognizable and added to their charm, creating a nostalgic image for those who dined there. Despite its popularity, Red Barn began to struggle in the late 1970s due to stiff competition from other fast food giants and changes in ownership. The chain went through several mergers, which eventually led to the closure of many locations. By the early 1980s, most Red Barn restaurants had either shut down or been converted into other fast food outlets. Although the chain is long gone, Red Barn remains a fond memory for those who grew up enjoying its hearty meals and iconic barn-shaped restaurants. All-Star Cafe.
It's the official All-Star Cafe.
Ken Griffey Jr., 301 lifetime average.
All-Star Cafe was a chain of sports-themed restaurants launched in 1995 by Planet Hollywood, backed by big-name athletes like Shaquille O'Neal, Joe Montana, Wayne Gretzky, and Andre Agassi. All-Star Cafe aimed to capitalize on the growing popularity of sports and celebrity culture. The restaurants featured memorabilia from various sports and had a casual, stadium-style menu that included burgers, wings, nachos, and other American fare. The appeal of All-Star Cafe was not just the food, but the overall experience. Each location was designed to immerse diners in a sports fan's paradise, with walls lined with jerseys, autographs, and game-used equipment from famous athletes. Big screen TVs played live games, making it a popular spot for fans to watch events and enjoy a meal in a sports-centric environment. Despite its celebrity backing and initial success, All-Star Cafe struggled to differentiate itself from other sports bars and themed restaurants. The high costs of maintaining the lavish decor and prime locations in tourist-heavy areas like Times Square and Disney World led to financial difficulties. By the early 2000s, most All-Star Cafe locations had closed, and the concept was eventually abandoned. Though short-lived, the chain remains a memorable attempt to blend sports culture with dining, and many fans remember it as a fun, though fleeting, part of the 90s restaurant scene. VIP's was a popular chain of diner-style restaurants that originated in Oregon in 1968. The chain quickly spread throughout the Pacific Northwest, offering a family-friendly dining experience similar to that of Denny's or Shoney's. VIP's became known for its casual, affordable meals, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner with a menu that included everything from pancakes and omelets to burgers, steaks, and salads. The restaurants were open 24 hours a day, making them a convenient stop for travelers and locals alike. VIP's was especially popular for its hearty breakfasts and classic American comfort food. Families enjoyed the relaxed atmosphere, and it became a go-to spot for those seeking an affordable meal at any time of day. The chain also attracted a loyal following of late-night diners thanks to its round-the-clock service. However, as competition in the casual dining sector increased, VIP's began to face financial challenges. In the early 1980s, the chain was sold to Denny's, which gradually converted most of the VIP's locations into Denny's restaurants. By the mid-1980s, VIP's had largely disappeared from the dining landscape, though it remains fondly remembered by those who enjoyed its classic diner fare and friendly service during its heyday in the Pacific Northwest. Kenny Rogers Roasters.
You're gonna love this food.
Kenny Rogers Roasters.
Kenny Rogers Roasters was a chain of chicken restaurants founded in 1991 by country music star Kenny Rogers and former KFC CEO John Y. Brown. The restaurant specialized in wood-fired rotisserie chicken, offering a healthier alternative to the fried chicken options that dominated the market at the time. With its signature seasoning and focus on wholesome side dishes like mashed potatoes, coleslaw, and steamed vegetables, Kenny Rogers Roasters quickly gained popularity. What made the chain stand out was its emphasis on health health-conscious eating, which was gaining traction in the early 1990s. The chain's rotisserie chicken, paired with hearty yet nutritious sides, appealed to families looking for a more balanced meal option. It also became a pop culture sensation thanks to a famous Seinfeld episode in which the restaurant played a central role, boosting its visibility and appeal. Despite its early success and celebrity backing, Kenny Rogers Roasters began to face stiff competition from other fast casual chicken chains and changing consumer preferences. The chain expanded rapidly, but overexpansion, high costs, and market saturation led to financial struggles. By the early 2000s, most US locations had closed, though the brand still exists in parts of Asia, where it remains popular. For many Americans, Kenny Rogers Roasters is remembered fondly for its tasty rotisserie chicken and its brief moment of cultural fame. Carol's.
Carol's, the best you can get.
Carol's was originally a popular fast food chain that emerged in the 1960s, known for its burgers, fries, and milkshakes. The chain started in Syracuse, New York, and quickly grew into a major competitor on the East Coast, offering affordable, tasty meals with a focus on burgers. One of its most popular items was the Club Burger, a signature sandwich that gained a loyal following. The restaurant's bright orange and teal logo and distinct building design made it a recognizable presence in many cities. At its peak, Carol's had over 150 locations across the US, and it was known for its fun, family-friendly atmosphere. The chain catered to the growing demand for fast food, offering burgers, fries, hot dogs, and milkshakes at a time when quick, inexpensive meals were becoming the norm for busy families. However, by the 1970s, Carol's began transitioning away from its own brand as it acquired Burger King franchises. Many of its locations were converted into Burger Kings, and the Carol's name eventually faded from the US fast food landscape. Today, the company behind Carol's is actually one of the largest Burger King franchise operators in the world. Though the Carol's brand is no longer around in the US, many who grew up with the chain still remember its classic burgers and the role it played in early fast food history. Po Folks.
For the best value in town, it all adds up. Po Folks.
Po Folks was a popular Southern-themed restaurant chain that launched in 1975 in Anderson, South Carolina. The chain specialized in hearty, home-style Southern cooking, offering dishes like fried chicken, catfish, country fried steak, biscuits, collard greens, and grits. The name Po Folks was inspired by a country song by musician Bill Anderson, reflecting the restaurant's emphasis on simple, down-home comfort food at affordable prices. Po Folks' success came from its charming, rustic atmosphere and Southern hospitality. Diners were treated to large portions of classic Southern dishes served in a casual, welcoming setting, making it a popular spot for families. With a menu that embraced the best of Southern cooking, from fried okra to peach cobbler, the chain became a favorite across the Southeast and beyond. However, by the late 1980s, Po Folks began facing financial difficulties, partly due to overexpansion and increased competition from other casual dining chains. In 1988, the chain filed for bankruptcy and many of its locations were sold or rebranded. A handful of Po Folks restaurants still operate today, but the chain's national presence has largely faded. For those who dined there during its heyday, Po Folks is remembered for its generous portions of Southern comfort food and its cozy, welcoming atmosphere. Wetson's. Wetson's was a fast food chain that emerged in the late 1950s, based out of Long Island, New York. Wetson's was one of the earliest competitors to McDonald's in the fast food burger market, and it quickly became known for its signature 15-cent burgers, fries, and shakes. The chain's mascot, a smiling, orange-haired character named Weddy, along with its iconic W sign, made Wetson's a familiar sight across the East Coast. Wetson's was famous for its double patty burgers and simple, straightforward menu, offering classic fast food fare at low prices. Much like McDonald's, Wetson's appealed to families and young people with its speedy service and budget-friendly meals. At its peak, Wetson's had over 70 locations across the New York metropolitan area and other parts of the East Coast. Despite its early success, Wetson's couldn't keep up with the rapid expansion of McDonald's, Burger King, and other major fast food chains. The intense competition and operational challenges led to Wetson's decline in the 1970s. By the mid-1970s, many Wetson's locations were sold off or closed, and the brand eventually disappeared from the fast food landscape. Today, Wetson's is remembered as an early innovator in the fast food industry, giving New Yorkers a taste of the burger craze that was sweeping the nation. Rustler Steakhouse.
I came to Rustler for these meaty ribs.
I came for this grape.
Rustler Steakhouse was a popular chain of budget-friendly steakhouses that began in the late 1960s. Known for offering affordable steak dinners in a casual, Western-themed setting, Rustler quickly became a favorite for families and those seeking a hearty meal without breaking the bank. The menu focused on grilled steaks, baked potatoes, and salad, all served in a laid-back environment that evoked the feeling of an old cowboy saloon. The appeal of Rustler was its simplicity and value. For a relatively low price, diners could enjoy a complete steak dinner with all the fixings, making it a go-to spot for working-class families and couples looking for a casual night out. The chain also offered salad bars and an array of side dishes, which helped to draw in customers who wanted more variety with their meals. Despite its popularity during the 1970s, Rustler faced increasing competition from other steakhouse chains like Sizzler and Ponderosa. By the 1980s, rising operational costs and changes in consumer preferences led to Rustler's decline. The chain was eventually acquired by the Marriott Corporation and rebranded into other concepts, marking the end of Rustler Steakhouse. For many, it remains a nostalgic memory of affordable steak dinners and simple Western-themed dining. Doggy Diner. .48 in Oakland, California. Known for its giant dachshund mascot wearing a chef's hat and bow tie, Doggy Diner became a beloved fixture across the Bay Area. The chain offered classic American fast food, including hot dogs, burgers, fries, and milkshakes. The friendly dog mascot was so recognizable that it became a symbol of the brand, and it could often be seen perched on top of the restaurant's rooftops, drawing in customers with its whimsical appeal. Doggy Diner was especially popular in the 1950s and 1960s, serving as a go-to spot for families, kids, and anyone looking for a quick and affordable meal. The chain prided itself on its hot dogs, which were among the best-selling items, and it catered to the booming car culture, where customers could grab a bite while cruising around town. By the 1970s, however, competition from larger national chains like McDonald's and Burger King began to squeeze Doggy Diner out of the market. Despite its loyal following, the company struggled to keep up with the fast food giants. In 1986, the last Doggy Diner location closed its doors. Although the restaurants have disappeared, the famous Doggy Diner mascot lives on as a cherished piece of San Francisco's history, with some of the original dachshund signs preserved as local landmarks. Big Boy.
What's it gonna be, my cooking or Elias Brothers Big Boy?
Big Boy!
Oh, thank goodness.
Big Boy was a well-known chain of family restaurants that started in the Pacific Northwest. It operated under the Big Boy franchise, which was famous for its signature double-decker hamburgers, such as the Big Boy Burger, similar to McDonald's Big Mac. VIP's Big Boy locations were beloved for their classic American diner fare, offering everything from burgers and fries to milkshakes and breakfast items like pancakes and omelets. The chain was popular with families due to its welcoming, casual atmosphere and diverse menu. One of its standout features was the Big Boy mascot, a chubby boy in checkered overalls holding a massive burger, which became an iconic symbol of the brand. VIP's Big Boy was also known for its all-you-can-eat salad bar, which added value for diners looking to enjoy a hearty meal. However, as competition in the casual dining sector grew, Big Boy began to lose its market share to newer, more modern chains. In the 1980s and 1990s, many Big Boy locations either closed or were converted into other restaurant concepts, marking the end of an era for this family-friendly chain. While Big Boy restaurants still exist in other parts of the country, Big Boy is a nostalgic memory for those in the Pacific Northwest who dined there during its peak. Henry's Hamburgers.
I'm hungry for a Henry's.
Henry's Hamburgers was a fast food chain that started in 1954 in Chicago, Illinois, and quickly expanded to become a major player in the fast food industry during the 1960s. At its peak, Henry's had over 200 locations across the Midwest, offering affordable burgers, fries, and milkshakes. The chain's slogan, "A million sold every month," reflected its popularity in the early days, when it was seen as a serious competitor to McDonald's and other growing fast food brands. Henry's Hamburgers became known for its 15-cent burgers, which drew in customers looking for a quick, inexpensive meal. Much like McDonald's, Henry's had a simple, no-frills menu focused on burgers, fries, and soft drinks, with a focus on speed and efficiency. Its bright red and yellow signage made it easily recognizable, and it was a common sight in small towns and cities throughout the Midwest. However, by the late 1970s, Henry's began to face stiff competition from larger, more aggressive chains like McDonald's and Burger King. The company struggled struggled to keep up with the rapid expansion of these giants, and many Henry's locations were sold or closed. By the 1980s, most of the chain had disappeared, though a few independent Henry's locations still exist today. Despite its decline, Henry's Hamburgers is remembered as a pioneer of the fast food burger boom and a favorite among Midwestern diners. White Tower. White Tower was a hamburger chain that began in the 1920s, inspired by the success of White Castle, known for its small, square hamburgers and streamlined white buildings that mimicked the look of White Castle. White Tower became a popular choice for affordable fast food during its heyday. The chain quickly expanded to several cities across the Midwest and East Coast, with more than 230 locations at its peak. White Tower's menu was simple, offering burgers, fries, and shakes, catering to customers who wanted quick, inexpensive meals. Its clean Art Deco-inspired design made it a recognizable part of the urban landscape, and it attracted a loyal customer base with its low prices and efficient service. White Tower's small, savory hamburgers, often referred to as sliders, were a favorite for customers looking for a satisfying, no-frills meal. However, White Tower faced legal battles with White Castle over trademark and branding issues, and over time, competition from other fast food giants like McDonald's and Burger King led to its decline. By the 1970s, most White Tower locations had closed, and the chain eventually disappeared from the fast food scene. Though long gone, White Tower is still remembered by those who enjoyed its distinctive architecture and iconic burgers. That wraps up our journey through 20 forgotten chain restaurants that once filled our cities and highways with delicious meals and fond memories. These restaurants may be gone, but they certainly aren't forgotten. Did any of these bring back memories for you? Let us know in the comments below if there's a chain we missed or one you especially remember.